What's up, you beautiful collectors and action figure fans? Once again, it's the one and only Optobotomist coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 594 of the 1/6 scale Robin from Batman Forever. For me, there has never been a time in my life where Robin was not automatically associated with Batman. Growing up with, the 1960s version of Batman, obviously I'm not that old, but watching them on reruns, and then the comic books, when Robin was introduced in Batman Forever, I was super excited. And honestly, for me, I felt they did a pretty good job with the character. So when this figure was announced, this was the one that I was mostly interested in. Yeah, the Sonar Suit Batman is fantastic, but as a kid growing up with this live-action version of Batman, for me, Michael Keaton was the Bat, and Chris O'Donnell was Robin. And in fact, he played Robin as many times as Michael Keaton played Batman. Granted, a little bit older than I would like for Robin. He did see more of that Nightwing sort of character in terms of age, which is kind of where I feel like they were leading him in the Batman and Robin film, especially when you look at that suit that he wore in that movie and how it changed from this more classic look. At the end of the day, this is the one that I wanted. For the package, though, you can see a really nice image of the figure right there. And you can really tell, mostly here in the hair area, you can really see it has a very plasticky sort of look. But of course, you got the Batman Forever logo there, Robin. Come around to the side, you can see Robin as well. Other side, Robin, you see a little bit more of a yellow package as opposed to Batman's, which was a little bit more silverish. When you come around to the back, you got warnings, contact information, and things like that for Hot Toys. Interestingly enough, they don't really have the cast and crew on here, which is kind of strange. But then when you look at the back of the package here, you have a very similar image to what we saw with Batman, with the Batman Forever logo, with the Batman logo surrounded by the Riddler logo, and then this two-tone sort of thing, which is more reminiscent of Two-Face, even though that the other one did a better job of it because this is yellowish. It's not nearly the same. Then when you come around to the other side, you got the open window that fully showcases the figure and his accessories, which really aren't a lot, honestly. And that's probably one of the most disappointing aspects of this release. But we'll get to all of that here in just a bit. But for the packaging on this guy, there you go. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. And here we have Robin from Batman Forever opened up and out of his packaging. And starting off first, he does come with an instruction sheet, which literally, you open it and you're done. And all it talks about is how his little arm gauntlet things here are kind of pokey, and that this particular hand can be used to hold his cape. They gave him a hand to hold his cape. Okay. That's it. You got various warnings and things like here in the back. That's it. Because he doesn't really come with anything. He comes with wrist pegs, extra ones. He comes with a pair of relaxed hands that you can see. Very standard for Hot Toys. You also got two fisted hands. You have this open gesturing hand, which he's like, "Stop, evildoer." And then this one, which literally is the hand that you would use if he came with anything like a Batarang. But he doesn't. So this is just him holding his cape. Yeah. Cool. He also does come with the display base, with that really nice Batman Forever logo with the green there. You can see it's very glossy, which is cool. Right in the front here it says Robin, which actually is kind of embossed. That's kind of cool. And then it is that Batman style base that we've gotten forever, basically, which used to be one of those ones that lights up. You can still see where the battery compartment was, and then these are the lights. And then where's the switch used to be? Oh, yeah, the switch used to be right there. But it's not there anymore, so you can't turn that on or anything. But you get the little crotch thing for it. That's it. Literally. That's all you get. Now, coming in to take a closer look at the figure, this guy looks fantastic. You can see that likeness is spot on to Chris O'Donnell. The hair, like I said, does look a little bit plasticky. It's not terribly bad or anything, but like I said, it doesn't necessarily look like natural hair. The mask there is amazing. I love how they actually even got the little Robin logo there on the inside, and then you have the black paint around his eyes, but that 100% looks like Chris O'Donnell. I'm super, super impressed with it. A lot of the suit stuff that I talked about in the Batman review is going to be the same here. It's made out of the same material. The one thing that I really don't particularly like is going to be the cape. The cape is not nearly as good as Batman's. This outer section is kind of this little softy kind of thing, and then the inside here has this mustard color, which, that's fine, but it's very thick. It's 2 layers, and it gives it a thick look to it, which I'm not the biggest fan of. And then, of course, you can use the hand to hold the cape if you want to. There are some bendy wires in there, so around the edges and the different seams, so you can kind of flare that kind of how you want, which is cool. I do dig that. But I don't like how when it comes up here, this part, like, I wish that laid down flat or, like, was glued down or something. I mean, like, if you left it there, that looked good. But as it is, it kind of lifts up from there, and you see his neck underneath. So I'm not a big fan of that. And then it kind of bunches up here as well. So you kind of move that around. So I don't know if there's any real way. Let's just pull his head off. Yeah, that just... Oh, no. What's that? That just kind of removes from the... Or that... Was that the front? Maybe that's supposed to be like in the front of them or something. Because that's this top part. Oh, that's the peg hole for it. All right, so I'm gonna have to get that situated back in there. Probably shouldn't necessarily just yank that out without checking, but you know, hey, I do this stuff just because. So we're gonna put that in there. And then stretch that kind of out. And then just plug that back in there. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so I don't like how it lifts up there. The suit, though, looks, again, fantastic. Has this really cool metallic look to it, which is accurate. But it does have that rubber material as well. So when you feel it, it's very, very sticky sounding and feeling, and that's very annoying for me. This is the first appearance of the bat nipples, which, according to Joel Schumacher, he did not realize why that was such a controversial sort of thing, but it is what it is. You have the pokiness of these little sections right here, so be careful with it. But it looks great. It does have a very classic look to the actual suit, and this is a little bit of smuts right there. Now, that sounded bad. This part, though, here has really elicited a lot of controversy. First off, the belt section. Again, that is a loose piece, but that at least looks a little bit better on him than it did on Batman. It doesn't really kind of get ugly or anything. But the cod piece. A lot of people criticize that. Realistically, that is accurate. During the production of the film, and this has been documented many times by like Joel Schumacher and the designers of the costume and stuff, the costumes were basically identical between, or at least the cod piece was identical between Robin or Chris O'Donnell and Val Kilmer as Batman. The problem, though, is that Val Kilmer at 6 foot tall is obviously taller than Chris O'Donnell, who is 5'9". But they didn't adjust the cod piece proportionately. So this is the same cod piece size that was used on Val Kilmer. So on a smaller person, it does stick out a whole lot more. And that's a very funny way of saying it. But then, so it's accurate. so it is what it is. The legs look good. You got a nice musculature. That's all done on the actual suit itself, so nothing really body related. Come down to the boots. It is just a one-piece boot design, which I know I'm not the biggest fan of. I know my buddy Justin's Collections is also not a big fan of that. I definitely think that they could have hidden in, especially like with some folds or something here, a separate boot section, but they didn't. But I do like how the design of the boot is recreated here by having the little Robin logo there. That's really very neat. Now, for me, it's all about the presence of him. And, I mean, the wire of the cape kind of makes things a little bit tricky. And maybe you do need the hand-holding sort of thing. Getting this out of the way, it's the presence, like I said. And how is he going to look with other Batman sort of characters? So here's Robin, and here he is next to the two Batmans. Obviously, this is his kind of counterpart in the film, portrayed by Val Kilmer. And again, you can see the size difference here. At 6 foot tall, Robin comes in about accurate, which I dig. I think that works perfectly fine because the actors are different. But with Michael Keaton, as I said previously, Michael Keaton is 5'9". So these guys, in terms of the size, getting him right there, is absolutely flawless in my opinion. In fact, Batman actually looks a little bit taller when you kind of look, get the focus in there, when you kind of look at where the noses line up, he looks a hair taller, which, for me, this is going to be my display, because Batman in the live-action movies has always been Michael Keaton. Robin was always Chris O'Donnell. So this is going to be my display. Poor Val Kilmer is going away. Now, first articulation, basically, it's the same that we saw with that Sonar Suit Batman. Because of the rubbery suit that covers the figure, it is limited. The head here, you get a pretty good range of motion, but as you move it around, you get a real ugly sort of opening right there. Like I said, I wish that was somehow more permanently attached there, just to kind of make it look a little bit better. But side to side, all that fun stuff. The shoulders here do move in and out pretty decently. Again, when you do move it forward, you do get this bunching that you can kind of mitigate by slightly rotating the arm around the suit, but it's going to get bunchy no matter what. You do have the rotation there at the bicep. You do have two bends here at the elbow, but again, I would be very cautious about leaving it in that. And actually, there's some ratchet joints in there, which is kind of neat to see. Then, of course, the wrists do have those wrist pegs that rotate around. You do have a waist rotation. You have an ab crunch that does have a bit of a ratchet joint there. So you can bend them, and you can see it flexes. But just in general, I would be worried about leaving it in that pose for too terribly long. Same thing with the legs. It just, I mean, they move, and those are on ratchet joints as well, probably to kind of combat the recoil of the rubbery suit. You're not going to get a lot of dynamic poses with this, which is unfortunate for the dynamic duo. Do you see what I did there? That's pretty good. You do have the rotation up here, but again, restricted and snaps back. You do have a bend here at the knee, but these knees feel a whole lot tighter in terms of the flex here. So realistically, I'm not going to push that too terribly far, but you can see that there is a recoil with that. So not going to put this guy in a lot of dynamic poses just because I don't want anything over time to happen to this suit. The ankles do rotate again. You could have put in a split cut boot design there, but they elected not to for whatever reason. Ultimately, believe it or not, I feel like this is the one that more people than not are going to want between the Batman Forever figures. That Batman is wonderful, but we've got different versions of Batman before, and because in that kind of original style of Batman, more people prefer Michael Keaton. But I think ultimately a lot of people really enjoyed Chris O'Donnell as Robin. And I definitely did as well. And that's why I see this one going for higher prices in the aftermarket, because this figure now is sold out and it is very hard to find. But realistically, I don't know why this one, in terms of retail cost, was only $10 cheaper than that Sonar Suit Batman, which was, I believe, $260. This one ran at about $250. $10 less, And you get a whole lot less with this guy. You literally only get 3 pairs of hands, including the ones that are currently on him. They couldn't even give him the holding ones where it could make it look like he's holding his belt. I guess you could kind of do that with these relaxed ones, I guess, but there's nothing else. He doesn't come with any batarangs, doesn't come with any kind of cool gadgets or anything, which I get because he really didn't use much. Maybe they could have given him a batarang or something. I'm just kind of playing with these legs to keep these kind of looking good. The cape could definitely be better. I don't particularly like the way that it just sits. It doesn't have a very good feel to it. It's definitely thicker because of the 2 layers for it, and it doesn't there's not like much of a weight to this. It really just, the cape's not all that good. The suit is the same as that Sonar one, so those same complaints definitely do apply as well here. The looks of the figure is fantastic. It absolutely looks like Chris O'Donnell, and the suit does its job of looking how it did, especially recreating that more classic Robin look, whereas in the Batman and Robin movie, it took on a little bit more of that Nightwing. So I like it. I do definitely recommend them. If you can find them for a good price, I would pick them up and add them to your collection. Just know you're really not getting a lot. This is absolutely a bare bones sort of release. In years ago, I know times have changed, prices have gone up, but this is definitely a figure that I feel should not be that $250 price. You know, $210, $215 maybe. But there you go, guys. There's my look at the new Hot Toys Batman Forever 1/6 scale Robin. As I mentioned, this figure is sold out right now, but if you'd like to take a look at other Hot Toys that are available, you can do so at various places like Big Bad Toy Store, where if you'd like to go there, I'll put a link right down there in the video description, where you can swing on over there and check out availability on the rest of Hot Toys' wide range of action figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. As always, I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching. And until next time, this is Optibotimus saying adios, au revoir, and auf Wiedersehen.